Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I hope that you're having a fantastic day so far. I hope wherever you are in the world, today has been treating you well. In today's video, I'm going to be talking to you about concealers and specifically my top 5 concealers for dry skin. So if you don't know, hi, I'm Millie. I am a fully paid up member of the Crusty Dusty Skin Association. I have dry skin, dry under eyes. It's a whole struggle. I always want to look glowy, but my skin just is not there. It could simply never be. So all of these concealers are perfect if you've got dry skin, perfect if you have got perhaps not the youngest skin. I am 31, I am very, very expressive. My face moves a lot and the under eyes crinkle. That is fine, that is perfectly normal, but I don't want my concealer to be like emphasizing that, you know? So all of these concealers are perfect for that. If you have any other favorites that I'm not mentioning here, I would love to hear about it because I am always on the hunt for more, but these are ones that have my firm stamp of approval. I think that all of these concealers are fantastic, so don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and let's just jump on in. I am going to be talking about these from the lightest coverage to the most coverage because that is the only way in my tiny little brain that I can make any sort of sense out of, you know, putting these in any sort of order. So first up, if you have seen my channel at any point, if you have seen me before, you will have heard me talk about this concealer. Oh yes, it is the 17-second Skin Enhancing Concealer. This concealer is absolutely hands down my favourite concealer because this is a brand new tube. I wear the shade 001Y. In case you're wondering, I will tell you which shades I have in all of these products. This is so thin. This is so lightweight on the skin, but it really does, considering the amount, the way that it feels on the skin, it packs a serious punch. So like I say, this is a brand new tube. I haven't even opened this one before. Isn't that just the most satisfying? If I show you, it's just so thin and lightweight on the skin. It blends out beautifully. It stays feeling really nice and hydrating. It never feels heavy. It never feels like it's drying. I love the way that this looks with a setting powder over the top of it as well, if that is something that I want. I don't often set my like under eyes, not like right up to my under eyes. I will set sort of in the center of my face where I do put concealer as well, but the way that this stays looking so beautiful and like juicy under the eyes, but also just so completely natural and like completely undetectable, it is incredible. And I do believe the most affordable one that I've got in this lineup, it's definitely not a full coverage, and I don't believe that you can get it to be a full coverage. That's not why I would use this concealer if I was struggling to sleep, which I am at the minute, but that's a different tale altogether. If I was needing more coverage, if the bluey tones on the inner corner of my eyes, if that was more, then I wouldn't necessarily go for this one because it is only, I would say, a low medium coverage, and it's not really buildable. It's not one of those products that you can like layer and layer and layer, but the way that this looks just by itself, blended out with either a sponge or a brush, absolutely incredible. I know because I have been told that so many people who watch my videos have got this on my recommendation, and so many of you love it. If you have tried this because I have said so, I would love to hear about it because I feel like 17 is such an underrated brand, but again, different story for a different time. Next up, we have got Catrice, and this I've only tested recently, but it's already a fan favourite. This is what I'm wearing today. This is the Catrice Instant Bright Serum Concealer, not the last serum concealer that I will be talking about today, and this is in the shade 002N. So if I just get this, I will try and swatch these so that you can see them together. That is what that one is looking like. Again, very, very thin, very, very serum-y, very blendable. Like, you can definitely take these two, I would say. You can definitely take like whatever it is that you've got and like dabbed on around your eyes. If you take with a sponge, you can sort of drag it out and sort of create a foundation with it rather than it sort of staying exactly where you put it, which is a plus point for me. I have tried the other concealer, the very famous one, what is it, True Skin, and so many people who have dry skin recommend that. I know Jen Phelps recommends that concealer from Catrice. I just feel like it's too much, it's too heavy. This one is so lightweight, it's so thin, it's so serum-y feeling that you really only need a very, very small amount, and it does just blend out and look so, so natural. This just for an everyday sort of blended out and can be blended out and sort of used as your foundation if you so need it to, is absolutely beautiful. Just so thin feeling on the skin, and again, I don't really feel the need to set it. Then we have got Made by Mitchell. This is the Bolt Balm Concealer. This is in BB4. I'm not going to hold this one up too close to the screen because I do just dip my brush into this and it is a little bit dirty. I'm not the cleanest person. I am the only person who wears all of this makeup. This, I feel like, it's thicker feeling. I have this on now, sort of down the center of my face here. Just felt like I needed a little extra coverage today. So I am wearing this one today. I do feel like this is, again, that sort of adaptive formula. I can absolutely just wear this all over the face. You can absolutely get a deeper tone and do it as like a bronzer sort of a thing. The formula of this is very, very unique. I've tried a few pot concealers, but I feel like this one is the thinnest because sometimes I feel like they're very thick, they're very drying. This feels lovely and almost like emollient. I wouldn't even say it feels thin. It's emollient. Like, it feels like you've got a really thick sort of night cream on your under eyes, and it's so lovely and hydrating and sort of smoothing. It's such a unique formula. I don't think I even really liked this when I first tried it, but I can't stop using it. Again, I'm not going to show you too closely, but I have hit a pan in this. I mean, obviously it's not like the thickest, but you do get like a ton of product in this, and this I do feel like I need to set because it is that, I'm saying thicker, but I don't mean that in a bad way. It's still lovely and hydrating, but it is a thicker, balmier formula, as you would expect from a pot balm concealer. But because it is that texture, you can absolutely build it up. I like to take this with a brush. I don't find that it builds up or it picks up too well with a sponge. I like to take either a finger or a brush to apply it and then blend it out with a sponge. I find that that is the easiest way to get a very sort of smooth finish, but this can absolutely be built up. It can be layered and layered and layered, and you can get such a high coverage with this, or it can be very, very beautifully sort of thinned out. Next up, I have got, I feel like nobody talks about Technic. Nobody talks about their base products, but this is the Triple Wave Serum Concealer. Again, you can see how much I've used this from that lid that is so dirty. This is very, very full coverage. Like, you can take the smallest amount and tap it on, just sort of tap it out with your finger, and this will cover every single one of your sins. It is so full coverage. The reason that I have one above this is because of the finish. This still looks glowy, it still looks hydrating. It's a serum concealer, so it is still that thin feeling, but it's got more coverage. This, if you have a lot of darkness around your eyes, I would highly, highly recommend this concealer. The way that this blends out, again, you can just blend this out and have this as your concealer and foundation. The way that this blends into the skin, stays looking really nice and glowy, stays feeling lightweight, it doesn't feel heavy, still looks so beautiful and glowy, but blends out. I do feel like I need to set this one as well, just because if I'm using this, I'm probably going for more of a glam sort of effect because of the coverage. I love this just for an everyday, but it is more coverage than like the others that I will just use on an everyday basis where I'm not really wearing a lot. The way that this looks and the way that this lasts, because it is such a lot of coverage, is absolutely beautiful. I do like the foundation in this range as well, but for me, the concealer is such a standout because it is so thin feeling, but so full coverage. Like when you first pump, because it's a pump on the top rather than a wand, the way that this, like you pump it out and it feels like it'll be so thin and like no coverage, and you take the tiniest little bit and you're like, oh my gosh, it keeps on going. It just keeps on powering down the doors of coverage. Like it is just beautiful. And like I said, it's more than what I need on an everyday basis, but the way that this looks, if I haven't slept well, is absolutely out of this world. I simply love it. And then the last concealer that I recommend, if you have dry skin, if you want a lot of coverage, but if you like more of a matte finish, not completely matte, but more matte than those four, this is the Sleek In Your Tone Longwear Concealer. I just remembered I completely did not tell you what shades I was wearing in these. The Made by Mitchell Balm I wear in BB4, the Technic I wear in Light, and the Sleek I wear in 1N. So this, again, feels very lightweight, feels serumy, but the way that this dries down, the way that this dries, and I wouldn't go as far as to say it's self-setting, but it dries down, it sinks in, it looks so velvety smooth. I wouldn't even go as far as to say that this looks matte, because it still adds something. It's like it's got a pearlescence to it, but the formula dries down, and then I can't explain it, but probably my most used concealer from the last 18 months, because I just tap this on sort of here and a little bit down the center, tap it out with a sponge, and that is me just on an everyday, because the way that this dries, I'm saying dries down, but I don't mean that in a bad way. The way that this sinks into the skin and just stays looking so smooth and so just airbrushed on your skin is phenomenal. And I have always been scared of matte concealers, and like I say, I wouldn't go as far as to say this was a matte concealer. I will say the packaging is like not great. The packaging is like all coming off on my hands, but that's a me problem for holding this in my hands for too long. It really is a very long wear formula where the finish just stays looking great. Again, I don't really feel like I have to set this, because the way that it looks, I don't feel like I need to set it, because it's not too glowy oily looking. It does just look beautiful and glowy. She is my baby. Actually, it was one of my lovely subscribers who recommended that one to me, and it's become a fan favourite. So if you have any other recommendations, I would absolutely love to hear it, because clearly I am open to suggestion. Clearly. But they are all of my favourite concealers, my top 5 absolute favourite concealers if you have dry skin. Now, a lot of the time with concealers, it is like skin prep that is key. Like, hydrating the skin around your eyes before you even think about putting makeup on, and also like the way that you apply it. Like I say, I like to just dab a little bit on and blend it out with a damp sponge. That really works for me. But also, if you're looking for an eye cream recommendation to put on before, I use this on a nighttime and in the morning, the Superdrug Vitamin E Nourishing Eye Cream. I highly recommend just a really light layer of this on before, like, and let it all sink in obviously, but before you go in with your makeup, this is beautiful. I highly recommend that one. So if you've got any other recommendations, I would absolutely love to hear it. Are any of these your favourites as well? Again, I would love to hear it because I am nosy and I am always on the market for more dry skin gal approved makeup products. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up, but until next time, thank you ever so much for watching. Bye.